Welcome back, everybody, to Kerbal Space Program. Now, as you can see, we don't have anything right here, so what we're going to do is switch over to the catcher probe and use that to jump our way out to our current mission that we have to get caught up on. Hopefully we can do it without course defying our Kerbins. Normally I'd clean that up, but given the current state of things, I think it is in my best interest to keep it there just to fix this slight issue. Otherwise we would have been stuck at that area until we reloaded. Now, we're going here. Cool, it remembered to save the target. That is absolutely important. Now, one of the things we want to do, we gotta be careful about this, we want to make sure we do not go all the way. So when we go there, it's 19.4, 20, 11. That is more than double. What we want to do is be just less. So there we go. Now, hopefully, we can maintain the health of our Kerbins. We have 16 days, 14 days to do that. But if I go over to here, we have a food supply of 3 days. So we have 3 days to do this the right way. If it does not work, we will have to return them from orbit and basically build a new mission to setting them up that has the supplies that we forgot to bring. Now you may notice the Apps is not quite right. Unfortunately, it is a bit of a difficult path to do that the right way. And we will be able to fix it, but we have to be at a certain point to do it efficiently. Right now, if we attempt to correct this big of a distance from where we're at right now, it would cost way too much Delta V. We need to be careful because we do have a limit on our Delta V. And that limit will unfortunately come up real quickly if we are not paying attention. We do have to keep an eye on this. The instant we hit the... What do we want to do? The instant we hit the 2-day mark, we have to look to bring them back no matter what. So they have 2 days to complete their mission. And they're going to lose it going over here. And we're going to increase time warp nice and carefully. And as you notice, we accidentally overshot. Which means we are going to have to force the recovery. So what we're going to do I'm gonna reload the quick save. Hopefully it is the right one, otherwise we might have to go in and manually load it. Okay. Not the right one. Okay. Give me a moment. Let me see if I can find it buried in the save menus. Okay. Retrograde. Hard burn. We're just going to burn until we are deorbited. And we will have to basically relaunch this whole thing with extra supplies added. Does mean that we will lose a little bit of funding by doing so. So one of the things I'm going to do, get an EVA report, keep it, board, start making your way back. Now, thankfully, no matter what we do, we'll have our return all set. Warp here. We are going to look at kind of forcing ourselves down. Warp until we are in atmosphere. Going to burn for as long as we can. Main objective being reducing our orbital speed so that we do not burn up in the atmosphere. We will jettison all these parts as soon as we can. They will be overheating, unfortunately, so... Yep. We'll let that crash out on its own. Thankfully, we have plenty of ablator. And we do have the drogue chutes on here, so we should be perfectly fine. That may not be fine. I know some parts did just detonate on it, unfortunately. You can still hear it, which means that we have lost that money. And we might have to build something a little bit more custom. Or by custom, more financially viable. Okay, they've been knocked unconscious by the extreme slowdown. Hit here, increase our time warp. I believe it's 2,500 meters. Our drogues will open. We just have to slow ourselves down right before then. $2,500. 6-5. And there's the drogues open. Should bring us to a nice slow speed. Okay, stage recovered. We were a bit far away, but it does appear we got a decent value back. So, when we do the relaunch, we do have to make sure we are a little more careful. We've been getting away with not having to worry about life support for a while now because a lot of our missions have not been like that strict with it. They've been quick, you know, go up, go down, that's it. A lot of our new missions, they're further out, so we have to start being a little bit more careful with it, start planning proper safe missions. At least when the Kerbins are involved. Yep. Okay, so we've got a little bit of extra science, tiny bit of funding, not a whole lot of anything else. We're gonna go here. We need to prep that same rocket, but we need to make sure that we add a supply of food. Okay. Fine, now we need to come to cargo. You are an actual storage cargo, that's not useful to me. Like it is, just not useful in that fashion. So what we need to do is come down here. I do need to look into doing some of the construction stuff. But for now, life support. Absolutely. Okay. That's fine. This is not. This needs... this needs a solution. I think I can remove that from symmetry. That from the symmetry. Tuck that right there. Come down to our bearing, and we're gonna edit it. Make it look a little nicer. Save. Trying to think if there is any way I can increase my capacity. I'm not really feeling it. I think one of the options I could take, increasing the fuel performance. If we can find solids. A lot of these are... That's actually not that bad. I thought that was going to be a... Oh. But yeah, a lot of these are relatively expensive. What we're going to do right now, because we do want to be able to launch and actually, you know, handle everything. Don't know why they keep flipping upside down. That is slightly irritating. But what we gotta do is set these up on their own individual jettison. Okay. Now the important thing is I need to toss this here and bring that up one. Now hopefully these will burn fuel before the asparagus staging gives out. Now the problem, as you can clearly see, is it is not perfect. In theory, they may not need to be. In practice, this could go very wrong very quickly. So, we're going to do it anyway. Also didn't bother to check to see if we have the right turbines on board. We'll see on the launch pad. Basically, stand in front of the rocket, see who shows up, and go, wait, aren't you not qualified for this? Granted, I do need to build a training center. Engage the autopilot. This is gonna be... Oh, just exploded. Revert to launch. Again, no ideas what's causing this, because the instability just shouldn't be there. Given the very simplistic nature of this particular rocket, revert to launch, because I accidentally did that. This is very angry. I don't know why I thought it was like some of the other games I've played where I could pause time by hitting space. That's not how any of that works. What I'm going to do is hit engage autopilot, and I'm going to push to launch myself. And of course the solid rockets are a very slow burn. And now we're doing a waste, so gotta swap them out for something that burns hotter and faster. Or, theoretically speaking, one of these things we can do, which I think might be my solution, is I can make some... It's gonna look weird, but I can make some fuel dump pods. In order to do that, I'm gonna need one of you. Remember, the whole point of what I'm currently doing is to increase our capabilities with this rocket. Now, I could throw a heavy lift on, call it a day. I might have to do that just because at the end of the day, doing dump pods for fuel is a bit insane. Especially when you think about the fact that it is, in essence, increasing the asparagus staging height. That's all it is. I think that's what I will do. I will intentionally up the height on the asparagus staging. See if I can get that cave itself. Boom, boom. And then we just have to find the right parachutes. Make sure they're in the right order. Okay, a little bit more fuel. We have plenty of thrust to weight. So, the little bit extra fuel might do the trick. It might also just cause the whole thing to detonate. But we will find that out momentarily. Okay, autopilot engaged. Launch. That was interesting. At least audio-wise, we could hear each individual engine firing. Which in real life, if they fired like that, terrible things like this would happen. This is unfortunately not what I've been trying to do. We have given ourselves the extra elsewhere, but we've given ourselves an extra 8 days for food. That means at the worst case scenario, we have 11 days to get them back. I intend for it not to take that long. That was weird. That was a very delayed stage. Like, we should hit 0 burnout. Guess I'll be manually staging them then. Very odd. Now, there is a slight problem with adding more fuel to each stage, which is we are more likely to have the extra stages when we get into orbit. If it stages itself, or if I'm gonna have to manually do it. Manual it is. Yeah. That's odd. Hopefully, we can use what we do have to get ourselves pretty far. Now this is a bit worrying. Because while we did add fuel, we didn't actually get much further. Oh, whoa. There we go. Now there is just enough fuel to do this. It is a bit of a pain in the butt. Okay. Let's grade it so that we can do a safe dump. Wait until we are cleared and burn to reestablish orbit. And orbit reestablished. Now, set that as the target. Yeah, plane. That, toss it up into there. We're gonna remove it because past that node, what we want to do is come here, add a maneuver. And one of the things that people tend to forget is when you do some of these, you actually end up moving quite a bit of fuel, quite a bit of other things. Good enough for me. Now, that attempt to do a double burn, or more specifically, we're going to attempt to do a burn that brings us both in line and in a great are quite a distance. But in theory, we might have enough fuel to do this. If this doesn't work, we will have to resort to switching over to the heavy lift system, which is going to be overkill for a rocket of this size. Oh. At least in theory, this should work out for us. In practice, I'm a fool who, very likely... Okay, I did remember... Well, I didn't remember. It was thankfully saved in the inventory. Up that away. Oh, that's interesting. That's fine. Push one button. Cool, having all the utilities right there. Automation panic. No idea what that does. That might be a fun thing to try later. Huh. You can just set up a little rover control for those really long hikes across stuff like Duna and the moon. Yeah, stage was destroyed, stage was destroyed. These ones are a little bit better. Almost there. Not gonna be perfect for the apoapse, but we are close enough that we can get semi inside. And of course, it overshoots. Now, the problem with overshooting wait, how close is it just on its own? Remove the node. Okay, we're gonna do quick save here. Execute this next node. It's not gonna be perfect, but theory. We will be a little bit behind it. We might be able to actually better than that. Problem is we don't have a lot of fuel. Hey, now that the moon is no longer causing maximum disturbance, now when I tweak this, that puts these real close. How deep into the atmosphere does this go, though? Oh, it intersects with the moon. That's one of those things. So, hypothetically, if I do that, and then work on fixing it on the way back, I will have wasted a whole bunch of fuel. So create a node that matches. That's gonna fix that. And we will just tell it to execute the next node because we have 7 days to pull this off. Yeah. And normal KSP, I would just keep them swimming about until it lined up. Okay, ta-da! Add a maneuver here. Now we do want to do a whoop. That would be really nice. Wait, it's one of the cases where I want to go high. Whoop, 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 whoop. Oh, okay. $17.7. 4, 8, 6, 5, 2.5, 1.6. Oop, overshot it. 2.5, 0.6, 0.5. That is absolutely amazing. Execute that node. Now, the biggest issue is going to be bringing it to a stop when we want to. I do know we're going to have a hard time getting back. That's going to be a thing that I do a maneuver test on as soon as we finish. Close enough. We are going to quick save that. Carbon health. Warp here. You're on day 3. We have 4 days left. This is not great. Okay, we have an hour until that burn. What we want to do is close out our life support. Okay, so that is an easy enough thing to do. My question is, can I get them back? So, 300. We'll say 350. We have to make sure no matter what node we do, 350 left. Get to next node. Not gonna be perfect, not by a long shot, but according to this, we're only gonna be 251 meters away. It is going to be ever so slightly north of us. Okay. Okay. Now, we are going to switch to docking mode. Turn on the RCS. It is an RCS burn. Fine tune. I want to be 80. Create. Move. Create and execute the node. Max velocities. Create and execute. Then we are, in theory, going to be fine once we get close enough. Now, the thing that worries me is I don't know if... Ooh, board. Board. Target. Point at the target. Bring us nice and close. I want to do it in a relatively quick fashion, unfortunately. I'm being a little bit too lazy. So. Did you really just do that? Okay. So we know we can do it. And I realize I've got enough RCS to drop this thing out of orbit like a stone. Cool. Match velocities. Go. I don't know if we're going to be able to pull it off. It might be a very, very quick or a very, very bad thing. Okay, docking. It. That was bad. Be ready to kill relative. We're gonna get nice and close, but nowhere near as close as we were. Turn it off. Kill rotation. Off. RCS off. EVA. Let go. RCS. Inventory. Right, I keep forgetting I have to go into build mode. Let's just carry this over. Okay. Go out of build mode. Contract complete. Great. Now, let's get our Kerbins home. Board it. Turn on RCS. Cool. Turn off docking mode. Your new objective. Aim retrograde. We're gonna bring ourselves down. Thankfully, we have enough monopropellant that if we do run out of standard fuel, we will be fine. The worrying thing is the time to periapse. Take a look at it after we've descended more. Oof, that might be a little much. Docking. Okay, it's a little bit better. Turn off docking. And now, let's see. We're doing okay. They've got 2 days worth, a day and some, and this mission will be over in half a day. Their health isn't great, and they're definitely going to need some cheering up when they get home, but they should get a hero's welcome because they have gotten us the funds we need. Let that drift off on its own. In theory, we should be fine doing this. I think we might end up skimming though, and that's the thing that worries me. We don't want to skim. We want to drop into the atmosphere and stop. Still your rotation. Oh, I didn't have life support running. I'm honestly no idea what this is gonna do. It does worry me though. The fact that not only are we skimming, but so is the debris. Okay, that debris might have to be manually ridden into the atmosphere. Hopefully this will bring our apoaps down enough. I'm actually gonna stop time warping because we might be getting a time warp artifacting issue where it is making skimming a lot more common. 21 hours. Warp there, I guess. Great. Down. They're still doing okay. Our apoapse is still obscene. Okay. On a quick load, which I believe is unfortunately saved before we finish the mission. Okay. Let's stop worrying about that. Stop worrying about that. Take a peek. Wait and execute, because apparently we didn't save after we brought ourselves to where we need to be. Okay. There's our little buddy over there. Wait until the burn stops. You're then gonna save, and we're gonna basically keep slowly saving our way home. Boop. Quick save. Look at the target. Switch to docking mode. Turn RCS on. And punch it. This, and we're gonna nice and carefully. Slow ourselves down. rotation. EVA. Go grab. And here we go. Grab board. Quick save. Orbit retrograde. Don't look at it when we burn out. Let's go home. This time we are going to bring it down to exactly 50 kilometers. That should give us what we need. Good. Now, we're gonna quick save again. And we're gonna time warp until we are in our drop down phase. I'm gonna tell you to burn all the fuel you can. That way, our apps drops out too. Yes, I am very much aware that we are going to burn up. Right. Have to remove myself from docking mode. And now I can separate. Kill the rotation. Yep, as parts come off of that, that's going to spiral out. But thankfully, we are deep enough into the atmosphere that this should bring our apoaps down. The part that has me worried is if it's going to bring down the apoaps of the debris. Contract is complete though. We are technically rising, so we might have to do this one more time. The problem is, that means that stuff is going to stay up longer. Stop looking at target. Give me an orbital. Give me a retrograde. Almost at the point where we're gonna be back up, so might as well speed through, because we do have to do one more skim. However, fine given the depth of our skim, our apoaps should drop down pretty significant as we get into lower atmosphere. Oh, let's see where this gets us. At least our periaps does look like it is dropping quite significantly. Good for us, means more atmosphere to help us burn off speed. We are still going way too fast. Okay. Yeah, this will be it. This will be the landing because our periaps is actually dropping almost as fast as we are. Our apoaps is coming down quite significantly. So, I do believe before we get out of the atmosphere, our apoaps is going to drop within the atmosphere, and at that point, we will be on a full-on descent path. Yeah. There we go. Our periaps is falling to the ground, and that is exactly what we want to be doing. Now that our apoaps is below atmospheric levels, we are guaranteed to make landfall. Or landfall in the term, not in the actual land. We could very much end up in the ocean. It is sad we are that far away from the KSC, but we did get them home, and we did get the mission accomplished. Yeah, nobody's doing an EVA report while we're screaming through the atmosphere. No thank you. Close that, close that. We'll keep that open, just in case. Periaps has dropped below ground, so we're now on a nice little collision course. Thankfully, I believe we have more than enough ablator to pull this off. I'm surprised this thing hasn't exploded yet. Yeah. I do apologize that we've taken the entire session to do a single mission. Unfortunately, that does happen sometimes. Hopefully, we should be good in the future. Yeah, I think we are still over water, so we should be relatively fine. They are going to... Oh. Jeb, well done. I don't remember Bill planting 5 different flags on the moon, but hey, okay. Okay. Liquid, so we can time warp safely. Do a quick save before I do anything foolish. High speed dropping. Remember at the 2 mark. Standard physics warp. Applies. Parachutes are open. Five, 4, 3, 2. Almost made the mistake of keeping my mouse over one of the windows, because by being over one of the windows, it does actually prevent you from changing your warp, which has, as you guys have seen, caused more than one explosion. Boom. Retrieve everyone. They have completed a very valuable mission. And on the topics of very valuable stuff, let us look at opening up our health system. Because if you look, a lot of these guys have radiation. Now, for right now, I think our main thing is going to be the people with the most. So, Jeb, astronauts level 3, research level 3. Okay, so that would be why. Okay, Jeb, you're gonna be having a sore one for a little while. Yeah. It's construction of the rover on the moon. Huh. I like the idea of this mission, and the pay is astronomically amazing. The problem is, I'm gonna have to put that on hold. The problem is getting to the moon with the missing parts, which we have to evaluate ourselves, we've already proven that we have a hard time with basically keeping our life support well. Interesting. No idea anything about that, so. Don't want to mess with it. Ooh. Let's see. Can we make a high-speed drone? I feel like we can. Over to our command and control. Gonna throw one of those and one of these. Then we're gonna come over to our fuel tank because we do want some fun fuel tanks. Liquid fuel diet. Gonna come here. We are gonna build basically an engine ramp. Come to fuel. Okay. So that's sure. Although does not allow me to adjust fuel. That, however, does. So, yeah. That's gonna be crazy. Here. Toggle direct part manipulation. Think I'm in there. There. We want the lift right behind the thrust. That's going to be a very interesting conundrum. Actually, theoretically, could I just get away with that? I feel like the answer is no. This feels like the kind of thing where once I do something with it, it's going to explode into more than a gazillion pieces. Boom. Boom. X1. Why not? Do you have to make sure I have a solar panel on the roof? Toss a battery there too, just for safety's sake. And then we want a simple but effective comms relay. There we go. Not perfect. I just noticed that there is a separation thing. Assuming the nose of this is designed to separate off. Which is funny, it would be kind of how I would make it if I was trying to test this and I wasn't about to, you know, load us back. But mainly what I want to do is to see if I can get this crazy thing off the ground. Yeah, nose cone fall off kind of thing. Yep. We're gonna revert to launch, and we're gonna try this. We're gonna try this running as slow as possible, because what's happening is the engine is literally more powerful than the physics will allow for this wheel to take. There we go. Boom. Tiny amount of thrust. Tiny. Whee! Yep. Okay, revert to the hangar. Looks like we will need to up the wheels at the back, because they are way too powerful. Not the wheel of the engine, because that thing is a monster. And it seems to want to eat my rockets and my aircraft for breakfast. Now, what we need to do is come here, rotate them so they are doing better. This is actually a little silly, but we do kind of want it a little bit below. That way it faces up. The other thing I want to do is come here and see, decouple. Okay. No idea. But what I do know is this is absolutely silly. And silly is what we do best. Grab our wheels, which means we then have to grab our wings. Okay. The wheels actually weigh so much that just shifting them completely offsets the weight of the vehicle. This kind of feels like the kind of thing I should put some training wheels on. Although we aren't taking it too serious. We managed to get our guys back without turning them into tourists, which I think is now going to be my new prevent me from being demonetized thing of, oh, we just turned them into tourists. Okay. For it to hangar, we're gonna have to put bigger wings on it, and I don't mean we have to put bigger wings on it for an actual good reason. We have to do it so we can stabilize it. Those tiny little wings are not gonna do it. We need the wings not for the wing, but we need it for being able to hold the wheels up. Okay. That is all good. Come here. Grab that. Do our rotations. Our local maneuvers. Realize that this entire thing is ridiculous in the greatest ways possible. Realize that no matter what, that's going to clip in. This is so silly. This is so silly. But, you know, if you can't join KSP and be a little silly, you're not really doing it right like you are, but it's Kerbal. Have some fun with it. The whole point of Kerbal Space Program, whether they intended to or not, is to get people to enjoy rocket science. Okay, so even if I disable the staging, it will still do it. If I just do it. So, good to know. Oh look, a wild gamer kitty has appeared. I just gotta make sure he doesn't step on the keyboard. Okay, let's see this go unstable and fall over again. Okay, that's kind of funny. I have to invert the wing surface. I didn't think about that. Actually, rigid is necessary. And there goes Gamer Kitty sitting on the keyboard once again. Y direction, invert. Now, at least in theory, when we take off, this is actually going to take off. I also have not bothered setting up the afterburners because at this point, just getting this off the ground without it imploding in unimaginable ways and imaginable ways is the main goal. Okay, so there's up, there's down. Pull the gear in. And it technically flies. Kind of like a lawn dart. I'll just manually toggle the mode. Huh. Let me see. This might not be the one that has afterburners. Custom one. Switch mode. Okay, so that's the reverser. There we go. Again, this thing is screaming. Okay. We're gonna revert back to the hangar. We had our fun. Let us work on something that is actually useful to us. And that is going to be little science pods. First rule of our tiny science pod is going to be, as much as I normally wouldn't want to add a probe core to it, they're going to get silver cores. Little chassis and things of that nature. I believe what we want to do, come over here. I think I'll use these. They just kind of look a little better. Also going to help hide of the antenna stuff. Maybe not that one. Maybe not that one either. Come on. At this point, that might be it, just because it kind of looks good. Ooh, ooh, ooh. It is adorable. It is our new antenna. Cool. Electrical, these are gonna need twin battery packs. And twin solar panels. And honestly, that normally would be it. But what we're gonna do is slowly build up repertoire of scientific experiments. Ooh, that has quite a few experiments I can do. Drop it there. Telescopes. While I might want to make a telescope system, I don't think I want to do it with these. This helium vector. That's neat. Okay, that's probably gonna be my next little thing going out. Okay. Nuclear package. Mystery goo. I choose you. Then let's take a peek at our payload system. One of the things I want to do is come here and go cross on enter stage. Go. And as you see, I could actually make a bunch of these. So silly. But that is something probably for another setup. What I want to do, come to our parachutes, because we want actually make sure all of our equipment is safe. So in order to do that, all these in such a way that when I toss a drogue chute on, I have to do is move these, unfortunately. But when we throw a drogue chute on, it'll allow the whole thing to just kind of guide itself down. Yeah, all these feel like they're too much. That's kind of funny, not useful in the least bit, at least not. Ooh, those are way too big. But yeah, not useful in the least bit. Oof, there we go. Be too big. Okay, I kind of like that. Not perfect, but it makes them behave. This is going to be our I can. The other thing we want to do, toss it in our subassembly. I keep forgetting that in order to sub-assembly it, you have to do it connectable part. So let's do something kind of silly and make a connectable part for it. Won't really use it. Cool. I can save it. Now what we're going to do is open up one of our bigger aircraft. Junkie, because why not? Then we're going to come here, go to coupling. We need decoupling. Okay. Okay. You stop saying okay. And just go with it. And I immediately did it again. Well, what we can do with this. I do feel like the weight and drag is gonna mess up this aircraft, but we can at least do a run before our timer is up, and we must disappear into the ether for another night. Okay, engines up. I think what we're gonna try to do is we're gonna do a bit of a double drop. Okay, team. Let's see if we can do this without dropping our aircraft out of the sky. Actually, technically, the aircraft is going to drop out of the sky because our parachutes are deploying too. But that is fine. That was kind of funny. It was almost like they were stuck. Well, that's not perfect, but it can run all of its things. Alright. We're gonna revert to the hangar so that we have not wasted funds doing silly things. And I will be calling it a night. Cannot wait to see you all next time. But at least for now, we're gonna take a look at our plane and say, take it easy.